So let's call the meeting to order. This is the Human Rights Committee meeting. I'm going to read the remote meeting procedures in keeping with the Zoom formatting. So, in keeping with the ongoing emergency order from Governor Charlie Baker to limit gatherings and maximize social distancing, and under legislation passed to address remote board meetings during the emergency declaration, this meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count toward the quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. While conducting meetings remotely, we will endeavor to keep meeting operations as close to our standard procedures as possible. However, use of this platform will necessitate some additional meeting protocols. 1, while the board members will be on video and audio, public participants will join the meeting muted and with no video feed from them. Public lines will be muted throughout the meeting to allow the board to conduct business and to eliminate background noise. 2, for general meetings and only for items under which the chair solicits public comment, members of the public participating in the Zoom meeting may submit a written question via the Q&A button. Please do not submit via chat. You must include your full name and address for the public record. The chairs reserve the right to discard comments that are submitted that are off topic or do not include name and address. Members of the public viewing the meeting on ECAT may submit questions in writing via email to mblanchard@easton.ma.us. The chairs reserve the right to respond to questions during the live meeting, but may limit the time for such activities. Any questions not addressed in the meeting may be answered afterward via email and will be incorporated into the minutes of the meeting for the public record. All votes will be by roll call. 4, when all business indicated on the agenda has been completed, the members will vote to adjourn the meeting, signaling the end of the meeting and the termination of the ECAT recording. All participants will be disconnected from the meeting at that time. And remember, to use Zoom on a computer or mobile device, you will need to download the Zoom applications at www.zoom.us and create an account, or use one of the call-in numbers listed on the agenda. To join by telephone only, you will need the meeting ID, all of which are listed on the agenda. Okay, rock and roll. So let's start with reviewing and approving the minutes. Thank you, Amy, for taking minutes. Anyone have any feedback or comments on them? All right, is there a motion to approve?
Approved.
All right, motion by Karen. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Beth. I think we have to do this by roll call. And since I'm guessing we don't have a memorized alphabetical list of us, I'm gonna tell you kind of the order you are on my screen. It goes Irene, Karen, Steph, Kathy, Beth, Amy, Allie. Okay, so Irene, would you approve the minutes?
I approve.
Karen?
Karen approved.
Stephanie?
I approve.
Kathy?
Yes, approved.
Beth?
Approved.
Amy?
Gershman approves.
Allie?
Approved.
Okay, Bornstein approves. So the minutes pass. All right, next item is a listening session update.
I can just jump in. It was great. It was really, I think it was really successful. I know a few of us were on the call. The speakers were good. People were engaged. We went probably like half an hour over the allotted time. Yeah, it was really successful. I was excited and
great, yeah.
My kids watched and yeah, it was good.
I thought it was great too.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I'm not sure whether that agenda item referred to the RMK listening session or the ones that we were planning going forward.
Well, we considered that one ours as well as theirs. We did it with them.
Yeah.
We were part of the planning process. Amy did the flyer and everything.
Okay, so
that was our first one.
Okay, so that was considered our first one on race.
joined with
Yeah,
RMK
got it.
for that particular, just because of the topic, but
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Okay. Excellent. All right. And so does that mean we're into the planning stages for the next one or not yet?
I wouldn't say into, but we should talk about doing one in the next quarter.
Okay.
To do it, and what the topic would be, and who's going to be on the team that pulls it off, and can we partner with anyone?
Right. I think we sort of envision this to be different people within this committee would spearhead it. So it wouldn't just be the same people each time organizing it. We're sort of going to pass it off to a few other people to organize the next one. Correct, ladies?
Yep,
Yeah.
that was what was discussed at the last meeting. Yeah, definitely. So can you tell us a little bit more about kind of the planning of it and maybe some lessons learned based on what you guys experienced and what you saw in terms of the execution?
I would say that a partnership with another organization like RMK, who has a really broad reach, is critical. And then, as far as like the level of effort, we met a few times. Kelly was really helpful with, coordinating with the speakers. So that might be a heavier lift the next time. What else?
So the way it was organized was Kelly introduced the whole program, and then so we did it with the library, RMK, and us. So a representative of each of those organizations would introduce one of the speakers, and then after they spoke, we allowed people to type in chat, and that the person who was introducing the speaker would ask a couple of questions from the chat. And that really worked well. There was a lot of interest. So, there's a little upfront in organizing the whole thing, figure out who's going to introduce who. Inviting, they had already picked out these 3 people because this was their walk in the shoes that they had organized before COVID. So that was really already set, fortunately. But I think the next big step is to figure out A, what the topic is, and then B, who wants to help organize.
I think that's the biggest piece probably is getting the speakers, and we were fortunate that Kelly had people in mind and they were still willing to speak on it. So I think that it's true. That was really helpful. I thought the format was great, kind of giving everybody 7-8 minutes to kind of share their story, share their experience. And then, everybody that kind of introduced, read a little bio on them, then they shared their story, then they went through questions. And then at the end, we kind of opened it up more for questions. It did go over the amount of time. It seemed like there was a lot of questions and participation and feedback for the speakers. So I thought it was good. But it is helpful. RMK does have a platform, and they were able to put it out to their, members and their allies. So I think that helps with participation too. So if there's any way to have, I don't know, depending on topics, but other affiliations that can help join with, I think would be really helpful just to spread the word and have more community involvement.
Although I think RMK, if we organize something, they would broadcast it on their list as well, if we ask them to. We also use their Zoom, business Zoom.
I think from Zoom purposes, we could certainly talk with the town, since we're a town committee, about the possibility of continuing to use the town account.
The one big difference is that the format was different. People could speak and show themselves. So it was different from having audience members like we do in our meetings. So we would want to make sure that we could enable that.
Right. Yeah. So you're saying it works to do it as a Zoom meeting format where you're all there and we can all see each other, as opposed to Zoom webinar where there's a divide between panelists and attendees.
Also, it wasn't recorded, and I don't know if that would be a requirement for the town.
Oh, that's a really good point. All right, I will look into both of those.
If we had a partnership with another organization, maybe they would have those capabilities.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think at the last meeting, we talked about the possibility of connecting with the O-Colony-wide and groups like that. Pardon I'm losing my voice. I don't know why, but I apologize for that.
That's what the chat function's there for, Craig.
And do we have a time? Do we have another date for the next one, or a time frame that we were aiming for? I just can't remember.
We had said quarterly, so it would be, I don't know, November, December, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I mean, we can operate now with the flexibility of like late December or late November, early December, and maybe finalize as we get a little bit closer. So I don't mind helping organize and coordinate the next event.
Yeah, I can help out too. I'm wondering, given the time, I mean, do we stick with race and continue those discussions? Do we shift kind of topics more than one? I mean, differently abled folks. Do we go to religion, as there might be tensions around that at that point? Just kind of throwing it out.
Yeah, I think we had talked about kind of doing different topics. Race just being the first one, given kind of, you know, everything that's kind of going on, and what RMK was already kind of planning too. Was just seemed like a one that we could tackle fairly easily and pull it off. But I think we were trying to do other topics too. So.
All right, so religion certainly is timely, late November, early December. We talked about ability. We had talked about LGBTQ. Any other?
Oh, age.
Ageism.
I think women too, gender issues. I can't remember if it was just women. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, any preferences for November, December?
I think
religion.
Yeah,
Religion seems good.
Okay. All right. So we'll focus on religion. Beth and I volunteered to kind of get that going. If anyone else wants to be on the organizing part with us, just shoot either of us an email.
I'm happy to join too, Liz Townsend.
Okay.
I won't be able to do much in the next few weeks, but after that I will.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so the three of us will brainstorm a little bit, kind of what direction and possible speakers, and then we will have an update for our meeting next month in October. Sound good?
Good.
Awesome. Okay. Book discussion update. I'm not sure there's much to update on this. Oh, we were kind of in the middle, like towards the end at the last meeting. All right, do you guys want to wrap it up?
So they ended up having 4 book discussion meetings, and then we had a 5th meeting that was supposed to be role play, but it was more of a presentation of a woman of color talking about how to address some of the issues. And then I didn't stay on for the role playing. Did anybody stay on for that? No.
I didn't either. It was late and I was tired, but it was a good conversation. I thought it was a good conversation anyway, just kind of about how to have conversations, but I didn't stay on doing it.
She was excellent. She did a great job. I think that in the end, you know, they ended up having 50 to 60 people across 5 weeks. In the lessons learned afterwards, they're talking more about doing a shorter, there was too many sessions, that having 2 or 3 would be the max that you do on a book, because people started to get tired. And so they're hoping, the RMK, and I think we could do it with them, are hoping to do another book in, I don't know, October-ish, later in October. And people who attended and filled out the survey were supposed to sort of vote on what book. I don't know where that is.
Okay. All right. So I agree, you know, happy to partner with them and continue working together. It certainly furthers everyone's mission, and, you know, the more allies on board, the better. I will keep my ears out, but Kathy or Steph, like if you're contacted directly and have any more updates about when the next one is, just forward it to us if it comes before our October meeting.
It won't, but I will.
Yeah, okay. All right, that sounds good. All right, anything else on book discussion? All right, so religious holiday observance calendar. Amy.
Yeah, So thank you everyone for the feedback. So I have an updated version of the calendar. Here's what's changed from the version that everyone that I sent out the first time. Liz, I accepted all of your feedback, including bolding the part about the fact that it only covers major holidays that fall on school days. So not legal holidays, not weekends, anything like that. And then there was some feedback about the dates for the Jewish holidays this fall, Rosh Hashanah in particular. I had the month wrong. I deleted, Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur, yeah.
Rosh Hashanah, I deleted. That is up for discussion, but for now, I kept it to our original rule of thumb of not including weekends, regardless of what activities are going on that are school related. So I can send it out as soon as we, hang up if anyone else wants to review it. But I think that Leisha wants it fairly soon. And so all the feedback I got, so I need to speak up if there was more, but Kathy, thank you for sharing it with the ally list. There were 2 people that wrote back with feedback, and then Liz, your comments.
I have this screen share setting, so if you have it up on your computer, Amy,
Yep, I do.
You can share it right now. You're
Okay.
enabled to do that.
I have like a million work things open, so just give me
Okay.
a second.
While you get that settled, so I want to, and if we can table this if other people have other edits and stuff to go over. So here's the Saturday dilemma. The original intention was to focus on school days. However, the complaints, yeah, that works great. Let's maybe make it full screen or zoom in a little.
Better?
Yeah, maybe a smidge more. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want me to walk through it, or do you want to continue talking about?
No. Go ahead and walk through it, and then I'll go to the Saturday thing later.
Okay, very, very simply, I just tracked what I changed. I applied feedback from Liz, your email, plus the 2 emails from allies. I'm bolding this to be really clear about what's included. I deleted Rosh Hashanah, and I reordered these dates. I updated Yom Kippur to the correct month, and that was it. Liz, I accepted all the other changes, but I didn't write down what they were. But those were the biggest changes.
Amy.
Yes.
Going through, I didn't go through this before, so I just went through it tonight.
Yep.
This is a lot of work. This is hard to do. It seems like it would be an easy task, and it's much harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So kudos to you.
Thanks.
I think the consistency about that you start on the date after sunset, the next date. You know what I mean? When a holiday starts at sunset, and you don't list that date, you list the next date. There's some inconsistencies as you go through it. So I think going back, I can send you what my feedback in that.
Okay, great.
And the other one that's really tricky is that D.Riley.
Okay.
Dates are all over the place.
Yeah. And I don't know if anyone has any ideas about the most trusted source, but there's a variety. So I usually try to just pick one and keep it consistent.
The ones that I saw mostly said the 14th through the 18th, but whatever.
Okay. No,
and also the March 25th date.
Yep.
I think it's April 25th. Or that's what I found.
So this one, I don't even know how to say it.
I know, that's why I didn't say it.
This one,
Yes.
Okay, great. I can double check that. I will highlight it.
And Ramadan is also one of those that starts at sunset. So again, applying the rule consistently. So I think the rule you have is you don't list the first date.
Okay.
You list the second date and say if it's starred, that means it started at sunset the day before, correct?
Yep. I'll double check anything that starred.
Thanks, Kathy. Any other comments on content edits for the calendar? All right, so here's sort of a larger discussion. It might not be a decide now thing, it might be a decide later thing. So when we first created this calendar a couple years ago, it was in response to some incidents and difficulties people were having at the schools where there was a inconsistent at best response from various school personnel, be it teachers, secretaries, coaches, what have you, about understanding and accommodating if someone was not present for observing a religious holiday. What I'm realizing now when I caught the timing with Rosh Hashanah is, so it starts on a Friday night. So according to our definition, like it doesn't fall into the calendar, but it's making me realize that a common complaint we would hear, particularly from high school parents, would be weekend activities conflicting with a holiday. So there's a game, there's a practice, there's a competition, there's a whatever on Saturday or Sunday, which is also a religious holiday and a religious observance for someone. So I don't think timing wise, it's something we have the ability to do right now, but it might be something to consider going forward. If we decide that we do want to do it, I would propose that we send out the calendar as is, because Leisha does want to get it down to the principals and down to the teachers as soon as possible. And then if we feel we want to do maybe a Saturday addendum, we could do that after we check all the holidays and dates and everything like that. But that's kind of the background and context. So I'm curious for people's thoughts on including versus not including holidays that fall on a weekend.
Can I ask about distribution, which might help us make the decision? I know that our long-term goal was to have Leisha distribute it to all teachers and extended staff. So that includes coaches, anyone else. Do you know if that happens? Because if yes, I would say then let's do an addendum. But if it doesn't get shared beyond the teachers, then I would say it's probably not worth it. And I don't mean that like it's not worth it. I just mean,
So when we have asked this in the past, process-wise, what happens is that Leisha shares it with the principal of each school, and then it is up to the principal to then disseminate to everyone who works in the school, teachers, staff, coaches, what have you. Does it get done? I assume so, right? But that's sort of the part that, Leisha's told it gets done, but is anyone like checking all of the principals to make sure they actually do it? I don't think so. Michelle, you might have more context or background than I do.
It seems to me like it got onto everybody's website and got disseminated out last year.
Mm-hmm.
And this year might be a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
But I can certainly ask. We have a school committee meeting on Thursday, so I can ask.
Okay.
Yeah, then I think we should update it, like change it to include weekends.
Okay.
I think it makes sense too.
Yeah, I think we confirm distribution and then include it like Amy suggested.
And realistically, a Saturday addendum isn't going to come out until October anyways, because we have to compile it, edit it, look at it, approve it, and vote on it. And we would know a little bit more at that point about distribution, I'm guessing. Okay, so it sounds like Amy will make corrections given to her with feedback from everyone. There are a couple things she's going to double check. Once she double checks it, is there a motion for her to send the corrected version directly to Leisha?
So moved.
Okay. Second?
Second?
Okay. We have to roll call this, right? Okay, so Karen, Steph, Kathy, Amy, Allie, Craig, Irene, Michelle, Beth is your order on my screen since we don't have alphabetical or hierarchical. So Karen.
Chan approved. Chan approved.
Yep. Kathy,
Approved.
Amy,
Gershman approves.
Allie. Can you unmute Allie?
Sorry.
Just give us a
approved.
big thumbs up.
Approved.
That's right. I know. Craig,
Yes.
Irene, Michelle, Beth.
Approved. Grants, yes.
Devonshire, yes.
Yeah, Bornstein, yes. Okay, great. So that would be for the calendar. We'll get that to Leisha. Amy and I can, Amy, I can help you tonight, double check stuff so we can fix it up tonight and maybe get it out tomorrow. And then for October's meeting, then we'll have maybe a Saturday addendum and see what ends up on that. So that's
Just
on our,
Random question. Is this not something that we could put on the town website near the regular calendar?
so it is on the school website, the easton.k12.ma.us. It is on a top bar, and it's under something that it's not intuitive to me.
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm on here now and I can't find it.
Yeah. So hold on, I'll tell you where it is. It is,
I'm in the menu, I don't see it.
so it's not on the menu. It would be on the top. So it is under school committee. I think it is staff. I mean, they probably took it down because they don't. Oh no, here it is. It's under staff. So if you go down on staff, and you have to use the bottom arrow because there's a lot underneath there, you can see Human Rights Committee 2019 Religious Calendar.
Okay. Yeah, I'm scrolling. Okay. But I think that answers that question too, as far as distribution. If it's on the website, then I think any coach or anyone else, we could point them to that.
Right.
So we also asked it in a more prominent place.
We had tried before, and that was what we got. That's again more of a Michelle question. My guess is either this is low-hanging fruit, and they'll be like, "Sure, whatever you want, do it," or school committee will say, "We have much bigger fish to fry right now, and we're really not going to take up like where the link is for your calendar."
So Catherine, what you're asking, just so I make sure I'm asking the right thing, is for it to be in a more obvious spot? Is that what you're?
Right. Under staff at the very bottom of a whole, you have to scroll down. I doubt too many people look at it.
Okay. I will definitely bring it up and I will
Thank
push
you.
for front page.
And actually, like another reason, I mean, there are many reasons to put it in a new location, but you know, especially I'm thinking also high school, but certainly all the other schools as well, when there are parents involved, like PACs or PTAs doing something or boosters, they're scheduling sort of school-ish related things. And so they should have ready access to that as well and not have the principal then come back and say, "Oh, you might not want to do it on that date because of X." Okay, so Michelle will follow up on placement. All right, good. Anything else for the calendar? All right, great. All right, so townwide statement. Allie, you had sent something out right now. Do you have it up on your screen or do you want me to share it?
I don't, because I'm dialing in from my phone, but
All right.
I really just have some questions. Thank you for sharing it. So I actually came into the conversation late and think I probably missed a few things. So I'd like to back up a little bit for my own clarity, but also just to check something. So this is a pledge for the Human Rights Committee specifically. And what are we going to do with this pledge? I guess that's the part where I'm kind of lost.
Is it a pledge or is it a statement of values?
I'm not sure. I mean, because we already have a mission. This is what sort of caught me up a little bit. We already have a mission statement. So I'm trying to figure out where this fits in, how we're going to leverage it.
So I think historically, the request or idea for the committee to do something, be it a statement or a pledge, came from probably June, early June-ish, when the school committee, I believe Michelle, put out a statement regarding racial justice, racial awareness, racial behavior. And Craig, I don't recall whether the select board did something or they simply affirmed.
Say every year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
think
think
there's another
that's where this came from.
I think there's another statement too. I have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure there's two statements that we make every year.
So this is a statement that we want to make in addition to what the town already makes and in addition to our own mission. So, right?
Is it different from what the town and our mission?
Yeah, so Liz, I think I read through all the text string, the email string correctly, but I think you started drafting some of it based on what the select board and some other human rights committees statements are. Is that right? And then I kind of.
Yeah, someone had brought up to our attention something a similar group had done in Plymouth, but as Allie's getting at, the devil's always in the details. Like, it kind of depends on, are you a town committee? Are you not? What's already in place? What's not? Is this new? Is it reinforcing? Is it duplicative?
Yeah, and that's where I'm going. Like, do we need this? Essentially, I'm more than happy to work on this text a little bit more and get more input. If everybody thinks that we need a pledge or a statement of values, but I just want to double check that we're not repeating what we already have.
There's definitely some overlap, but this is, essentially the second part, the Easton Human Rights Committee. That is a much more digestible version of what our charge is. Our charge is pretty large and unwieldy. So while there is some language that, I can see is similar to in the charge, the stronger, more unified town, some of it is specific to the events of the summer. And I think that was the purpose of the school committee statement. It was talking specifically about like what the school committee is going to do or value, what the town will do or value. And ours would be like what we would do as a human rights committee.
Yeah. I wonder if it just means that we should update our mission statement.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if having a separate pledge outside of our charge is effective, or maybe it's instead an enhancement to what's already in the select board document. I feel like
I like the idea of updating our mission statement.
So this might be a semi-legal question, and Beth or Craig, you can jump in, but what we have is technically our charge, which is not the same as a mission statement. I don't know if we can use those terms synonymously. Craig, do you have any thoughts on that?
And can we update the charge or?
Yeah.
That's that question, but I suspect that charge, mission, I don't know there's much of a difference.
Okay. Because we did update the charge a couple years ago when we were altering our membership numbers and adjusting it to kind of what we have now, what our max and minimum numbers are.
I think the headline for the charge is also our mission. So yeah. I'm pretty familiar with the charge. Like, the part of it that is unique, from this statement is our alignment with the rest of the town. And I think that might be a good update to the current charge.
It might just be going back to the select board and asking whether or not we need permission.
Well, we do need permission, right? Like when we amend it, I believe, present it to,
2018.
to the select board to say, we would like to amend. And one of the other amendments we did a couple years ago was remove language that kind of made us a reporting body, right? Where originally it was, people reported actions to us, but we decided that was not an appropriate use for the committee at that time.
So I'm inclined to do what we can in order to update our current charge. Because the more I think about it and think about it out loud, I think when various organizations put out pledges over the past few months, especially, it's organizations who don't already have something like this built into their charge or mission. And I feel that a lot of ours is already built in, just because of what we do and what we're all about. So I'm inclined to just update it, figure out how to do it the right way, and legally. But I'm happy if everybody agrees on that. I'm happy to take another stab at the language, and I can send around another updated version if that's helpful.
I think that's a great idea to redraft it a little bit, share it, and then when we complete it, we can share it with the selectmen and see what they say.
The first sentences of the charge are pretty straightforward and pretty compelling. I'm not sure, Ally, what you're talking about in terms of updating it.
I have to look at it again, honestly. I haven't looked at it in about a month. The existing charge of the committee.
I can read it.
Okay.
Promote Easton's vision of a community that has at its core values freedom from bigotry, hatred, intolerance, and disrespect, to build a stronger, more unified town, that respects and recognizes both our diversity and our commonalities. It's pretty strong.
It is pretty strong.
But that talks about the town. It doesn't talk about the committee.
Yeah,
It
number
says
3.
To promote. Part of the mission is to promote. And that's the HRC mission, is to promote.
There are 2 more in the mission.
Right.
And the third one is the one that has garnered complaints from various committee members over the years, just because it's worded in a way that's a little awkward and cumbersome to read. Do you want to keep going with it, Craig, or do you want
to work with community groups and agencies to educate and to promote understanding, to eliminate prejudice and intolerance, to confront statements and actions that conflict with the core values expressed above. I would think that part of the problem is that we're not saying it enough, we're not putting it out there enough, maybe, because it's pretty clear to me, those statements are our core values right here, both the committee and the town.
I would agree with Craig. I feel like our mission, our charge is, as it is really strong. We just have to promote it, reiterate it.
So it sounds like maybe the answer is just to promote it a little bit more, put it out there, make it more easily accessible somehow.
If you repeat it enough times in a larger context, more people will become more aware of it.
Yep.
I think as part of our training sessions, our listening sessions, we just always have to mention our mission whenever we have these. I noticed that just that way, just to like tie in what we're doing for our sessions, our discussions to our overall mission.
I think that's a really important idea, Irene, particularly as we partner with more and more people and can put stuff out there. That's a good way to reinforce our message.
Yep. I agree.
Okay, so it sounds like the consensus is that the need for the statement is not here. and instead we will focus our energies on promoting our existing mission.
Yep.
Just to throw this out there, one other option might just be us making a statement saying that we are in full support of the town making this statement. Do you know what I mean? Like piggybacking on, we don't need to change our mission. This basically is a briefer version of our charge. So like, isn't it great that the town is doing this and we are behind all of these words? Like, maybe that's what we could do as an alternative.
That's a nice idea.
Yeah, I like that. I can take a stab at forming a little blurb about that.
Cool.
Okay, so it's select board and school committee. Are these the statements that we're referencing?
I think so. Have any
Okay.
other committees or organizations within the town done it?
Well, I know police put out a statement around the time of the George Floyd protests earlier in June, condemning the actions and making like, this is unacceptable. We don't stand for this statement. The details kind of elude me.
Chief's statement. That was the chief's statement.
Which are you implying that's separate than like the whole police
No,
department?
I think he made that statement on
Right.
behalf of
Yeah.
himself and the police department.
Okay.
And we did link to that on our website and endorse it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Allie, that would be great if you can tweak a little bit and maybe do a little bit of reconnaissance of what exactly we're linking to, or
Sure.
giving the
Yep.
pat on the back.
But I agree with Irene that if at every opportunity at the beginning of any kind of discussion or session or meeting or whatever that we are involved in, or if we are hosting it or co-hosting it, that we should read this statement.
Yes.
Reiterate every single time what we stand for as a committee and what we stand for as a town.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yep. I like that.
So
And I think anytime we tweak something or add something, figuring out how to really circulate that information out there. That's why I like having a little bit something different, so we can then now, send it out to our allies, send it out to as many people as possible so they can see what we're doing.
I think, Catherine, that if you ask the allies what our mission is, they wouldn't be able to tell you that.
Right.
So if you give them this, that's a pretty strong statement.
Correct.
But I'm only one person, so.
But I do agree with Kathy that, the times where I've been interviewed by ECAT or something at NRT Festival, and they're like, tell us about your committee. It would be helpful to have a smaller soundbite than those 4 long bullet points. That feels like the long version, and I feel like we need a shorter talking point version as well.
I agree. I mean, I couldn't remember it just now, so I feel
Right.
like
The first line.
It's our elevator pitch. That's what we need. A nice, short, sweet elevator
we
pitch.
do. Yeah.
All right. So Allie, do you think you could take a stab at that as well?
Yep.
Like, what's
Sure.
your kind of 1 or 2 sentence as well as the whole charge?
Sure. Then I'm going to make you all practice it.
Yes. I pledge
We'll do a
allegiance.
video.
Yeah.
Put it on cards we all carry around.
Oh, that would be good.
That is a good idea.
I'm joking, but maybe it's the right good idea.
It might be. All right. Anything else on statement? All right. So Allie will draft a statement linking to existing statements, and then she's going to draft something that's basically our elevator pitch, our shortened version of our mission. All right. Thanks, Allie.
Sure.
All right. Ally list. Kathy, this is you. Where are we?
All right.
The
We're
ally
up to
list.
82 allies. And I just want to pitch once again for each of you. I'm hoping what you'll do is I sent out the little blurb, and Liz, you added something to it. I forget what you added. Something, if you add questions, contact me or whatever. But really, it's so easy. Just think about your friends, pick 10 like-minded friends, send them an email. They're going to say yes, and then just send me their email address and their name, and I'll put them in our list.
I have some names for you. I'll put my list together and send it to
Really,
you.
people are interested and want to do this, so I think we just have to let them know that they can.
Good idea.
I'll
Awesome.
get that done also, Kathy.
Me
Thank
too.
you.
Yeah.
All right. And Kathy, maybe if you want to just send a reminder email of what the sample text is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll look at your text as well. Okay.
Okay. I think it's like anything. Like you take sample text, and if there's any part of it that doesn't sound like your voice, then you slightly alter it to your voice, and you make it sound like you. Okay. Super. All right. Other action items. So we have an attendee here who I'm going to promote to panelist. There was an event in town where the thin blue line flag has been circulated to a bunch of communities, and there's a picture of Easton police and Easton firefighters posing with a flag. There was a lot of activity on Facebook, not being happy about this flag being used and the Easton Police and Fire standing behind it. So Mickey Wolf, who is on the call right now, had written a letter, and I wanted to invite her here today to kind of give us some historical context of both the flag, its stop in Easton, what she did, and kind of where things are now. So Mickey, welcome, and why don't you kind of share your role?
Hi, thank you for having me. So it's pretty simple. I saw the flag posted on the Easton Union, the Firefighters Union page. And it's the same flag, the thin blue line flag. And this has caused, actually the same one that's caused so much controversy around the state in the past few months. So it's the one that's been kind of touring firefighters to commemorate Sergeant Chesna, the police officer who was killed in the line of duty in 2018. There was recently a lot of controversy in Hingham about it. There's been some controversy with a similar flag in Danvers and elsewhere. And so while I get the intent in the firefighters union posting the picture, I also really wanted to open up a conversation about impact, because impact versus intent, the impact on this community of that flag is really different than the intent of thing. And I get the history of the flag. I do understand what it was meant to be, but in the past 5 years especially, this flag has been used not so much to like memorialize fallen police officers and fallen safety officers, so much as it has been used in opposition to Black Lives Matters protests. You see it hosted by far-right militias. And you also see it hosted by, like, held and kind of worn by and flown by white supremacists. So I wrote a letter outlining my concerns, and then I posted the letter because I thought other people might want to read it and might want to sign on. And it was cool. It was great to see almost 80 people signed on to the letter. I think I had the link up for about 3 days. It was I posted the text of the letter. They made it into a Google form where people could sign on. And so as part of the letter, I just didn't want to say like, this isn't cool. I also wanted to say, to open up a dialogue about kind of where we could go from here, kind of a call to action for everybody. So that we could all kind of maybe meet and heal as a community, and then also figure out in the future kind of what other options there might be to appropriately memorialize police officers, safety officers, whoever, maybe without using this specific imagery though, that is so painful to so many people. Particularly the day that the firefighters union decided to host this was also the day of the March on Washington, which I bet was a coincidence, but it was a really unfortunate one. Like, it was just awful. And so I sent the letter out to the president and vice president of the firefighters union. And then I CC'd the select board, and I CC'd Connor Reed, not because I expected any kind of a response from them because it was a union thing, but just to be polite, because that way they have a primary source. And with that, also knew that it would become public record, because when I send it to there, it becomes public record. After that, pretty immediately, there was some discussion on social media. People's names got released. Although on the forum, people could sign on to the forum, the only way somebody could have gotten a list of all of those names was from the letter. So somehow the letter got passed along pretty quickly. And that caused some controversy online and social media, like as it does sometimes. Later on that night, the vice president of the firefighters union, Chris Mills, reached out to me, wanted to meet. He was pretty approachable. I said that we would love to meet. and we're just trying to work out the details of when exactly as people's schedules kind of coordinate. I'm hopeful we will have a good meeting, and we can figure out how to go forward from there with positivity. So that's about where it stands with me.
Thank you, Mickey. Does anyone have any questions for Mickey, either about the incident, her response to it?
I thought it was a very, very well written letter, Mickey. And I wonder if you're going to meet with the union leadership, are you doing that by yourself? Or do you have a group of people that are going to go, or how is that going to work out, Mickey?
I had a couple of people in the community reach out to me, and I welcome their responses. So there'll probably be maybe 1 or 2 people with me. My biggest thing is that I wrote the letter, and I did get people to sign on for it, but I don't want to meet with people and say like I speak for a group of people. I speak for me. And if people want to sign on for it, that's great. But I don't want to go to this meeting and be like, I speak for 80 people and you have to listen to me, because that's not cool. Everybody might have a different idea of kind of how to go forward. So I also tried to make that clear to everybody, like moving forward, like I'm going to go and meet with everybody and I'll report back and say what happens. And then everybody can kind of decide how they would like to go from there. Like I'll handle the initial piece of it with maybe a couple of other people, and then we'll go from there and figure out the next steps. But the big thing is I don't want to be like I'm a leader of people or something like that. I saw something and wanted to say something.
And it was very well written.
And I guess one of my questions, my dad actually died, he was a fireman and died in the line of duty. So I also wonder what's the kind of outcome of the meeting in which we're hoping. I don't think anybody on this call or anywhere else would ever say we don't want to honor fallen firefighters or fallen police officers. I think we'd all be in agreement on that. I think what it comes down to is the symbol in which they use to honor their memory. And if it's something which is actually taken on a call of their own, I mean, I can tell you, I wouldn't, every year they honor my father, I wouldn't want this flag flown in his memory. So I guess it's just wondering and having that kind of conversation, what that might look like.
Beth, your point is an important one, because a lot of, Mickey, maybe you can speak to this sort of why the flag ended up in Easton in the first place, because this was a fireman, I believe, who had died in the line of duty 2 years ago.
A police officer.
Oh, a police officer.
Yeah.
Okay.
It died in 2018, and I know it flew in Hingham as of, I think, about 3 months ago, or maybe even closer than that. And then there were some protests in Hingham about the appropriateness of flying the flag on, because it was actually on the fire trucks in the town.
Yeah.
And so there was pushback against that. Then there was pushback against the pushback, because again, like I said, you want to honor appropriately, respectfully people, particularly who died in the line of duty. But this flag, unfortunately, it's a symbol, and symbols have meaning whether or not we agree with those meanings. And there's a lot of meaning that's now attached to this flag, and particularly in the past 5 years. And so when the flag had to be removed from Hingham, it's kind of been on like a tour of different fire stations. And so that Friday, the anniversary of the March on Washington, the Easton Firefighters Union, not the firefighters in the town, but the union hosted it and then took a picture with it. And then there were police officers in the picture as well, but I'm not sure if that was their union or how that went. And then they posted the picture of it saying, we were delighted to host this flag today. And then I think it's gone off to like other places to be hosted there as well. And I agree, like, I think there have got to be alternate ways to honor people, because you do want to do that. Whether it's with the bunting or what with picture, or however it goes, just to figure out something else.
So I
So
asked
Mickey-
Mickey to, yeah, go ahead, Kathy.
I was gonna say, so you came to the Human Rights Committee. Is there something you want us to do, or is there some outcome you want from this?
No,
us?
actually, I was quite happy. I was happy writing the letter and just kind of going meeting with people. I was asked to come here because I guess there's been some discussion on it, just to be a primary source to explain kind of why I wrote it, and what the update is so far. And the update is we're kind of waiting to discuss. I know you as a town committee can't meet with. I mean, I'd welcome anybody who wants to come, but I don't know how that works, to be quite frank.
We're certainly able, as
Okay.
a representative from a town committee, to join you in the talks if that is helpful. But I did ask Mickey to come tonight because the incident, both the flag and Mickey's letter and kind of where we are now with a response, had been brought to my attention. And since it is, as we were talking about, within our mission and our charge topically, I wanted to make sure everyone on the committee was aware of this. I also personally feel that social media is not the world, so I want to take stuff that happens on social media and make sure it is documented in person as well. So that's why I asked Mickey here to share, like she said, for the first person account.
I think my concern too is that I don't want what happens on social media to draw away the focus from what the letter was and what I'm hoping the outcome is, which is a positive discussion from which we can have maybe some good outcomes. There's a lot of the stuff that's happening on social media is just it's a distraction, and I don't want there to be a distraction.
It's certainly a nice opportunity for relationship building. So I would just say, if anyone is interested in joining Mickey on this, you can reach out to her directly or through me if you need Mickey's contact information. And, Mickey, if you want to update us, you're welcome to, no obligation, but we appreciate you doing actions that are very consistent with the mission of this committee. So thank you.
And I mean, given my background, I'm happy to join. I mean, the fact that my dad was a fireman, if that makes it helpful.
I would love that. Thank you. I would very much appreciate that. You can get my contact information, and feel free to reach out. Right now, I think the president and vice president of the union, we're trying to figure out, because they have conflicting schedules, like when would be a good time for them to meet. And then, then I've got to arrange it myself and whatnot. So I can loop you in and we can all figure out a good time. So thank you.
Yeah, that works.
Excellent. Thank you, Mickey.
Mickey, for the record, I support you. I appreciate you. The letter was really articulate, just like you always are. So don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and to meet with you all. Thanks.
Thanks, Mickey. I'm going to try and move you back without kicking you out of the meeting. So if I kick you out of the meeting, you're welcome to rejoin, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Okay. Any other action items that people want to bring up?
It's an action item, but I don't know if this is the right, we should talk about it or not, but the level of vitriol on Easton websites these days is just horrible. And, I don't know if there's anything as a committee we want to think about, but it's just amazing and very, very scary.
Yeah.
This is why I'm not on social media.
You don't want to be there.
No,
Exactly why I'm not on social media either, Catherine.
I think it's important to reinforce that is but one forum to report and learn and interact. And there are still many other forums, be it face-to-face in real time like this, or literally face-to-face, of course, 6 feet away with a mask, I don't have an answer.
I think it's also helpful to think, Catherine, that if there may be some very negative stuff, but I'm not sure it's a very large group of people. I think they just repeat it over and over and over and over again. And they may change names or sites and things like that. It's the same small group of people who continue to to abuse.
I agree. It's the same people over and over, but it is appalling what they're saying.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay. Kelly, is there anything on your end that you need us to repeat or go over?
I have one more action item.
Yeah.
Liza's training. She threw out the date October 21st from 7 to 8 on Zoom. Are we interested in moving forward? Can a couple other people make that date? And she's fantastic, and like this feels too easy. She would just run the session for us. Is everybody okay if I commit to that and move forward? I can work on a flyer, lock the date, and move it forward.
What's the date again, Amy?
The date, October 21st from 7 to 8 p.m.
That works for me. I could attend.
Awesome.
I think I can attend.
Irene, can you go? I know you want to go. Okay.
You can attend.
Cool.
And it's for kids and adults, right?
Yeah, it's geared towards families. Yep.
Is there a minimum age?
I think she said like 4th grade, but
10 and up kind of thing.
Yeah. But Lindsay was 8, and she was totally into it. I think it depends on the child.
Okay. All right. Make it work.
So you're going to design a web flyer, and we'll send it out to our allies. And
yeah, and Liza's also on the board at the Y, I think. So we can advertise that way. And when we have a flyer, maybe somebody who is in touch with the people at the library, maybe we could do that too.
Amy, was there a limitation on how many people could attend?
No, she's like, I've done 10 people, I've done 1,000 people. So it's however many sign up.
Is she going to host it, or do we need the Zoom account?
She's going to host it.
Okay. And do we have a title?
Not yet, but she sent me a bunch of marketing materials that she's used in the past. So I can share that with everybody.
Okay.
Do you want to reach out to RMK and see if they want to co-sponsor?
Definitely. Yep.
Can you remind me of the content or subject of the training?
Yeah, it's just having conversations about race in your family.
Great.
Yep. Yeah, I'll resend everything, work on a flyer, and send an update soon.
Excellent.
Is this open to other people also outside of our town?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. I mean, there's no way we could limit it,
I'm going to share it with people at the synagogue because we just went through 2 sessions with Billy Planer, who does this for a living. So there may be some people interested in it as well, Amy.
Cool. Awesome.
Amy, can you just remind me of the time? I'm sorry.
Yeah, October 21st from 7 to 8 p.m.
Thank you.
Yep.
Excellent.
Michelle, could that be shared through the school too, so that parents and families that way could learn about it? Or I'm just wondering if we could.
So any flyer you could send to Alicia, she would have to approve it and decide how it got. You could request how it got out there. Maybe it's through a call or email, but that all has to go through Alicia.
And I'm wondering too, this might be perfect for the middle school readers who are reading New Kid, because it kind of dovetails perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great idea. All right, so 2 questions. So middle school, Beth, maybe when we know our kids' teachers, we can reach out to the English teacher through there for scheduling or something like that.
Do we know when that might happen?
Friday.
Okay.
Or we can reach out to Mr. Carroll directly. But Michelle, is Chrissy still doing the Easton Community University thing?
don't know. I'm not sure what the plan is for this year. Everything is up in the air.
Yeah, I know.
So
Yeah.
Easton Community, I will ask. I'm gonna add it to my list.
Okay.
I know they're doing a lot of training, but I'm not sure if that is part of it. Easton Community.
I'm sorry, but I have a conference call I gotta do. I'm gonna step out and Stephanie, I'll see you tomorrow night at 6. Okay.
Thanks, Craig.
All right. Bye,
No,
Craig.
they're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can get back to you, Liz. I don't know.
Okay.
I love the book tie-in, but I don't know if I can, like, I'll mention it to Liza, but, you know, she's volunteering her time, so I just want to be sensitive to that. If she hasn't read it or is unfamiliar, I don't know if she could work it in, but it's worth mentioning.
I think you give her the heads up that the middle school had to do this. And I think, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, weren't they doing the middle school, at least the English department was going through the quote canon and making sure that it wasn't so white in general. So Liza might actually like to know that too, just some of the updates that or what we've been doing in Easton. Like if there was like a top 5 list, that might be helpful for Liza to know.
Okay, so you're asking what the top 5 lists of what?
Well, just in general, I think that they were going through all of their, and I think RMK was helping with this. They were going through their curriculum and making sure it was more inclusive.
All right, so that's a Chrissy question. All right.
Yeah, and it's part of Leisha's strategic plan too. I think that's a separate bullet.
I remembered RMK mentioning something, Kelly mentioning something about that. The book basket for the teachers is one of them. There was a lady that spoke also, I don't remember her name. I'd like to say Beth. I'm not too sure. But she was helping the school system develop some curriculum to just promote diversity. And she was really, there were specific examples that they were able to provide. I can reach out also to Kelly just for more information. Also, if that would help.
So it sounds like we're a go on giving Liza the yes and booking that date and time. And then by the time we meet next month, Amy, you think you would have like some version of flyers or promotional materials?
Yeah, I'm hoping even sooner.
Okay. And so then we can firm up at that meeting, because that is still like a good 2.5 weeks between the meeting and the training date to do a big publicity push.
And if we have our new elevator mission, we can put the link on the flyer.
Or better yet, we can get 3 minutes of upfront time and introduce her and give our mission.
That as well.
There you go.
For sure. I like that. Great. All right. Other action items. All right, Kelly, can you type in the chat? Is everything okay on your end? You hearing things? I'm going to assume that's a yes. All good. Okay, great. Awesome. All right, well, we have no public participation. So our next meeting is, we're at First Tuesdays, correct? This week, this month notwithstanding. So that is Tuesday the 6th, I believe, at 6:30. All right. So that will be our next meeting date. Kelly will get the minutes out to us in the next week or so. So we all have our action items. And I think we are all good. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Second?
Second.
All right. Meeting is adjourned. 7:42. Nice to see you all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.